everybody, welcome back to another Independence Title Town Hall. Today we have an amazing topic. We're talking about the CARES Act. So many people have been asking me. You see, I talk about it on a lot of posts, a lot of internet posts that I do, a lot of videos that I do. We're talking about the CARES Act in regard to the COVID-19 disaster. And we decided to bring on a tax expert today to talk to you a little bit about some of the programs that are available, maybe some of the grant programs, how you can apply, what you should do, maybe where you can apply, because we all know a lot of people are getting locked out. The big people who know people got the money, and the ones that don't know anyone, unfortunately, you're left barely with even an application number that you applied. So today we're going to bring on Shannon. Shannon is actually my sister-in-law. She graduated from the University of Miami with a master's in professional accounting. She has over 15 years of tax experience, and she's become a true expert understanding how to help business owners navigate some of the grant programs and some of the challenges in regard to the COVID-19. So Shannon, welcome to the call.
Hello, thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.
Awesome. For anyone that likes this post, you want to put a comment, we have the comment feed coming up on the side. We'll be happy to try and get to some of your questions as we go on in this presentation. But I did want to ask Shannon a couple of questions that some people sent in before, and just some of this, a little bit of a guide on just, maybe some things you can do as a business owner. So the first one, obviously, we know you've been doing accounting for 15 years. What made you decide to get into the CARES Act?
Yes, well, of my 15 years experience, the last 7 have really been in a specialty tax service planning. We've been helping businesses minimize their tax liabilities. I'm a small business owner, just like most of the people on this call. We primarily work in with research and development tax credits, cost segregation, 179D tax deduction, but really we all work in all areas of tax. Throughout my career, I've helped thousands of businesses save tax dollars, everybody from mom and pop down the street to billionaires, people, names that you would know well. But when the CARES Act passed, obviously this was a different animal that we had never seen before. My clients, my friends, my dad, who's a broker, my brother, who's a realtor, everybody started reaching out to me, asking, this is really complex. Do you think you could look into this and let us know how can I take advantage of this? So from late March to now, my team and I, we've been on top of the changes. They're happening hourly, as you all see on TV through the weekly or the daily briefings. We've pivoted for the past 3 weeks. And luckily, over these past 3 weeks, we've helped over 49 companies get funded through this PPP program. And it's been almost $4 million in forgivable funding. So it's something that we're really proud of. These are such unprecedented times that, we're happy to be here.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've told people, it's all about the relationship. If you don't have a relationship with your accountant, your bank, your payroll company, generating the reports that were needed, we got very, very lucky with our bank, and we were able to get our first quarter payroll reports done. We were able to get our tax return done, and we were literally ready. So the second they opened up the application process, we were literally right there applying. So, it's all about who you know. And I always tell people, bank small, be careful banking with these large banks, because a lot of these people have not been able to get their application even submitted. So let's talk a little bit. So, we did a video on Friday. We were talking about how obviously the money ran out super quick, and we saw the breaking news, and we even asked a couple of people, and they're like, no. I'm like, I'm telling you, the money ran out. And of course, the next day, which I believe that was Tuesday or Wednesday, and then it was the following day that they broke the news that obviously the $350 billion ran out. So now what? They obviously have a bill they're looking to pass to fund more money. What do they do if they didn't get an application number? We talked a little bit earlier before we started the live feed that we received what's called an E-Tran number, which is like a transaction number, which means our money is supposedly earmarked in that first round. But I tell people until it's in my account, I won't swear by it. But if they applied for it, now what?
Well, you're exactly right. A lot of my big clients have relationship with the big banks. We all know they thought they were okay. And the problem was these big banks, quite frankly, they got bogged down. And the other thing that was not fair was the independent contractors had to wait a week, and then they didn't release the rules until Tuesday. And by Thursday, the funds were gone. This happened to my brother. He didn't get through because there's only 2 days there. But through the process, like you mentioned, what we've learned this past 3 weeks is that the fastest and by far the easiest place to receive funding is through community banks. Most of these are banks that people on this call have probably never even heard of. These are banks that we have relationships with. We've worked with banks across the country, and we expect the same this time around. Something also that's extremely important is you have to submit a flawless application. I cannot stress this enough because your application is going to get to the top of the pile. And if it is not right, it gets moved down to the bottom of the pile. So that's something where we've been really grateful and that we're experienced. So we know where we can put our clients through seamlessly. But to everyone who applied, who didn't get it funded, I would say go apply for a couple community banks. Google it. We have a list if anybody wants to email me after the call. All 50 states, we have the top 100 SBA community banks who we have relationships with or we've been on the phone with helping clients get approved. There's also places like Lendio and PayPal. These are online portals that process applications. But they were the fastest last time around from what we saw as far as getting applications through. Just to give everybody an idea of the urgency of this, last night I was speaking to a senior executive at a local community bank, and he thinks the funds will run out in 2 days when it gets approved. I don't know if that's true or not, but there's just such a sense of urgency that I can't stress it enough that you have to get the loan application right and apply for multiple sources.
Yeah, I think they definitely are going to run out. Paul here, I put up a little comment here. He says he applied on the SBA website for payroll protection. He has an application number, but hasn't heard anything else. So now that they're out of money, does he have to apply again, or would his application keep him in line?
It honestly depends on the bank, probably is who it's going through. Most banks are keeping your place in line and they say in case in the future. But if I were you, I would apply elsewhere. Look up local community banks. There's one, I'm on the west coast of Florida, Sanibel Captiva Bank. I had never heard of that bank. They're funding all local businesses around here. I personally have funded a bank in Atlanta, a very small bank. I had 12 companies get funded through this one bank. Out-of-state clients, not even in-state clients. So I can't recommend, it doesn't have to be a local bank. Reach out to all different types of community banks.
All right. So Paul, great question, and glad we were able to answer. He called me earlier and said, would you be able to answer his question? So I told him you got to get on. So thank you. All right. So let's shift it a little bit. So people like, they're funded, right? So let's say someone like me, I was included in the first round. And we're supposed to get our money by this Friday, and I get funded. Now, what do? I get this money, it gets deposited, I'm assuming, into our general operating account. And what is the business owner supposed to do at that point?
Kevin, that's a great question. And it's extremely important one since now people have started to receive their funds. They take 5 to 10 days to clear the SBA website. So people like you have your number, you're going to get funded any day. So the day you receive your funds, an 8-week clock starts. During this time, 75% of the money you received must be spent on payroll. The other 25% can be spent on maybe rent, mortgage interest, utilities. But what we are doing is we are recommending that our clients use a special PPP bank account just for this purpose and save all of the backup documentation. We have an internal spreadsheet that we have given to all of our clients to use. There will be a certification document that every bank is going to require that you have to sign off on. And every bank is going to have subtle differences, just like with the application process. There's not one streamlined process, which is good and bad. And then what we're recommending is after that 8 weeks expires in weeks 9 and 10, we're recommending that you reach out to your bank, you submit how you use the funds so you can get as much forgiven as possible. What we definitely do not want to happen is we don't want someone to be funded and misuse the funds, and then now they have to repay 100% of this loan. Obviously, if the whole loan isn't forgiven, that's okay, because remember, this is a loan. It's 1% interest in 2 years, no prepayment penalty. So it's not the end of the world if you don't get 100% forgiven, but you want to get as much forgiven as possible.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, a loan is a loan, which actually kind of brings me into my next idea where we were talking about these idle loans. And I was actually consulting with NBC and the Wall Street Journal talking about the idle loans, because everyone was advertising. Every webinar I was on, they're advertising up to $2 million idle loan. I'm like, guys, you're missing the boat, because I was approved. And then literally the next day in writing, they said program's no longer available. It changed. And they're still advertising up to $2 million. And I'm like, that's not available. They're approving up to $15,000 plus the $10,000 advance, which again then got changed to the $10,000 per employee. So how does that affect, like, some of these? We have a lot of realtors and investors, but 1099 contractors. So where they thought they were approved, going to get $10,000, I guess if they're by themselves, they'll only get $1,000.
Unfortunately, you're yes and right as well is the answer to my question. So for the realtors, it looks like the last thing they're doing is they're approving $1,000 an employee. So what we're expecting is all these 1099 contractors to get the $1,000, and then what we're seeing is we're going to get 50% of your gross receipts from last year. Remember, this is still a good loan. It's about 3.75% interest. It's a 30-year loan, so they're good terms. There's no prepayment penalty, so you can pay it back whenever you want. So the realtors, unfortunately, they're not being very kind to them, because you're getting the per employee $1,000 advance, and you're only getting yourself as an advance. Or the bigger companies are getting $1,000 per employee, up to $10,000, but you still can take advantage of this, and they're still very good terms, which is important.
All right, so you can get a loan up to $2 million, 3.75%, 30-year loan. The only downside, remember, has to be paid back, right? I mean, that's the only downside. So before you start leveraging your business out there, you just want to make sure, like, what are you going to use that money for? And something we spoke about earlier, which it's notable to mention to them, is you cannot use it on the same items you're going to use the PPP loan for. You can get both, but you're just not allowed to use it for the same item. So you can't use payroll for both or rent for both, because that would get you in trouble, I guess.
Yes, that's extremely important. Is during that 8-week window, if you're approved for both loans, we're recommending that you do not commingle those funds, and you do not use that EIDL or idle loan for payroll whatsoever, because we don't want, a loan officer to come back and say, you cross-mingled these funds, this loan is not forgivable.
Okay, awesome. So since you've been doing this a long time and you're the expert we brought on, what are some of the hidden secrets we can tell people about the CARES Act, and maybe some things they don't already know about?
One thing that nobody is seeming to talk about that I think is going to be one of the most underrated parts of this CARES Act is the NOL carryback. If a business or an individual, so this isn't just big business, this is small business and individuals. If you had a loss in 2018 or 19, or are going to have one in 2020, which is going to really apply to a lot of these people, once the return is filed, we can go back and carry back that loss for 5 years. So basically what we can do is we can take the taxes that were paid in the past, and we can put that money into our clients' pockets. So this can result in immediate refund of taxes paid for prior years for our clients. What we're doing at the Tacher Group is we are having strategic tax planning for a lot of our clients. Maybe they have a big investment property. We can go do a cost segregation prior year, create this loss, and then go back 5 years, get this money back. Or maybe you're an architect, and just by designing work, you're going to qualify for an R&D tax credit. We can go back, take that in prior years, and then get you this money that you've already paid into the government. There's just a lot of ways to manipulate this NOL carryback that people aren't talking about, which is kind of surprising me. A second area is, and this is only for larger, small, and medium-sized businesses, is this Main Street lending program. It launches May 1st, so it hasn't come out yet. But what it is, it's a loan. It's not forgivable, so you have to pay it back. It is if you had earnings or EBITDA of $250,000 or greater last year, you can qualify. It's 4 times your EBITDA. It's a 4-year loan, about 4% interest, no prepayments. penalties and payment and principal or payment for principal and interest, are not due for 1 year. So it's a good fit for a lot of businesses. You can use it to grow your business. I'm interested to see what kind of traction this gets. Like I said, it doesn't launch till May 1st, so only early details are out on that. So we'll see more what comes. And then another area is there's payroll tax credit refunds that are available to owners if you have employees who had coronavirus or they had to miss time because they were taking care of someone who was sick with it. You can go ahead and get a payroll tax credit refund. Some other things people aren't even talking about are the employer retention tax credit. There's payroll tax deferrals, but you have to be careful with these last two because you cannot use them if you were funded for a PPP loan. But if you miss the PPP loan, just know that there's other programs available out there for you. Or maybe you're not a good fit for a PPP loan. You're a restaurant who's closed and maybe you only have a small payroll. There's other options available to you that really are not getting discussed at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. I was telling one of my friends, has a very small payroll. And I said, well, before you apply for the loan, make sure you talk with your accountant or talk to your attorney, your banker, and figure out, is there another option? Because, maybe getting that 50% credit may be more in their best interest. So like you said, you really want to look at all of the options. But again, for those of you that are watching, do not make a move. We don't do anything unless we ask our attorney, our accountant, our payroll company. We don't make a move because we don't want to put ourselves in a position like with the EIDL loan. The gentleman said I was approved on Friday, and then I'm like, well, hold on, let me think about it. I had to make sure I talked to our attorney, talked to our accountant, and they said, be careful, don't accept it yet because we don't know if you'll still be eligible for the PPP loan. We need to verify that first. And then eventually they verified it, but they said it wasn't available, and then it was available again. So there's so much confusion, and it's almost like when you talk to your banker, you're screaming at your banker, and just realize your banker is still earning probably the same salary they were earning before, and they don't deserve the attack that you're giving them. Our banker, we've been very kind to. Are we a little impatient? Well, like anyone, but it's all about respect. You have to give them the respect that they deserve. They're working hard, just as you are, just as they are. They're at a loss, trying to help hundreds of people that all want to be first in line, but you can't all be first, right? So just everyone needs to just sit back. Things are going to work out, and people are going to get the help that they need. So we talked about a couple of other and we're going to post this as well online, so you'll be able to replay this for everyone that's watching. You don't have to write everything down. If you have any questions, we have Shannon's information scrolling at the bottom of the video. But we talked about, as the business owner, some of the options that they have, maybe with different types of programs. What about funding? What other sources of funding? We talked about the EIDL loan. We talked about the PPP loan. I know in Florida, there was the Florida disaster loan. I was one of the first 200 to apply for it. And then I guess when you go to the website, it's down now. I think they canceled it and rolled it into the EIDL loan. But what else is available for the small business owner?
And that's something that nobody else is talking about, like I said, as well, is all these additional funding options outside of the CARES Act. Right now, as we're speaking at 3:00 today, the Chamber of Commerce, they are launching a website. It's called SaveSmallBusiness.com. And every small business with 3 to 25 employees can go on and apply. And it's a $5,000 grant, so it doesn't have to be repaid. We've encouraged all of our small businesses that qualify, go on there right now and apply. We don't know the entire application process, but it can't hurt to apply because it's free business or free money. Yeah, I know. There's tons of these programs out there.
And I got an email actually from a client today that said 3 p.m. click on this link, and I was like, that's a scam. Well, I guess it wasn't a scam. That's probably
no. SaveSmallBusiness.com. Everybody go there and go apply. $5,000 grant. 3 to 25 employees is the only caveat. And there's also so many state and local resources. We have gone through all 50 states to help our clients. I think in Florida, there are 6 programs, if I remember correctly. Small businesses can apply for additional funding. There's the State Small Business Credit Initiative. There's the Grow America Fund, the LIFT Fund. Email me if you need any of these resources, but this is all for additional funding. Grants.gov. The last time I checked, which was last night, they had almost 3,000 small business grants. These are grants. It's not loans that have for small businesses. Facebook, they're giving away $3,000 grants. So if you're a realtor, you've never advertised on Facebook, go look it up. You can get $3,000 of free advertising. Can't hurt. Google, for their AdWords, they're giving away grants as well. You had to be a prior customer for Google, I believe, but go look. There's also a capital program that QuickBooks, they've launched. The only stipulation had to be if you had a bank accounts that were connected through QuickBooks and the business had $50,000 in revenue over the past 12 months, you can go in and apply. But there are thousands of these programs out there and they keep coming out daily. So we are really encouraging all of our clients, just go and apply because it can't hurt. I know Sarah Blakely, she's launched a small business application for women-owned businesses. I think you only have to have one employee. There's just thousands of these dollars that are there right now for the funding, and you don't know, when that's going to run out. So go apply.
And now our comment feed is blowing up for the Safe Small Business. Guys, the website's down. It's 321. Oh. I'm sure the entire country, every chamber member and then some across the country are down. So just keep refreshing it. It did eventually come up for me. So just keep refreshing it. But it was savesmallbusiness.com. You can check it out and apply. And we're going to get a list of some stuff and Shannon's information, her email address, her website is on this video. So you'll be able to connect with her and get a lot of different information. Just don't pick her brain for free. You want to hire her, she's available. You can hire her services. And ask her so she can help you out. So again, thank you for that. What else? So now we're going to wrap up. We're at about almost 25 minutes here. What should someone do? We're going to hang up this video. They're a small business or maybe an independent real estate agent that's 1099 and their business is obviously getting crushed right now. If there's someone who is doing one deal a month, their business may be crushed. What do they do? What should they do besides panic? Don't watch the news and panic. They need to do something strategic. What should it be?
I think the most important thing to do is really just act to save your business. This is the CARES Act we're talking about. And the worst thing you can do is sit on the sidelines and watch the news. My team's been working overtime the past 3 weeks. We intend to keep working overtime until, these PPP and EIDL funds have run out. But then there's going to be something else. There's going to be, a fourth, a fifth package coming through Congress. Pay attention. Act to save your business. Because, like I said, the Save Small Business website through the chamber, that just came out. That was just launched, I believe, late last week. So, keep your head to the ground and see, what is available for funding for grants. Go to that grants.gov. See if anything there is a good fit for you. Obviously, I know that my dad is a broker. His agents have, the industry's just slowed down, but it'll come back, I think, and just act and see, what programs are available for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So Denise had said, thanks for a wealth of information. And Ryan, yes, it is family member, my sister-in-law. So it's not brother and sister, it's sister-in-law. But Ryan's a good client of mine and, very dear friend. We'll be on a webinar with him in a couple of days. Talking about some of this stuff as well. So, all right, so we're going to wrap up this call. I hope most of you enjoyed. We had a very large viewing, a lot of shares, a lot of likes. I am going to post this on our YouTube channel here shortly, so you'll be able to replay it, ask any questions you want, as always. And we have a lineup of amazing videos coming up this week. And don't forget, the number one thing people did last week is they took us up on the offer about the Rescue Your Business book. So email dave@titlerate.com if you want to get a copy of Rescue Your Business. It is totally free, not a PDF. I am actually going to mail you a physical copy of our book, Rescue Your Business, so you can read it today. Because even if you get through this global pandemic, which all of us are going to do, the market correction will come. We don't know when, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, it will come. And you need to set your business up so you do not fail. We put ourselves in a very good position learning from the crash of 2008. How we're now able to survive this global pandemic doing 40, 50, 60% less business during this last month than we were doing this time last year. And how do you survive as a business? A lot of my tips and tricks are in that book. So email Dave, David@TitleRate.com. Thank you again, Shannon, for coming on the call. Maybe we'll schedule another one as you start getting some more information. You did great today, and hopefully you'll get some business out of it. You've added extreme value to, I know, my entire community here, and we look forward to hopefully helping them survive their business. So thank you.
Well, thanks for having me, and everybody just act. I mean, you don't know what's out there until you start looking to help save your business.
Absolutely. So thank you all very much. Here's Shannon's website, thetachergroup.com. As always, I look forward to seeing everyone at the closing table as soon as we open them back up. Have a great day. Stay safe. Ask me any questions you may have.
Since 2003, Independence Title has been the leading provider of title insurance, real estate, and mortgage closing services in Fort Lauderdale, as well as throughout the entire state of Florida. Independence Title. Come close with us.